Hi. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear me or not. Let me get situated over here. Hey, Jan. How you feeling, hun? I want you to know that your candle is running right now. Hi. Hold on, let me make sure refresh my coffee over here. Refresh my coffee. Put some more coffee in my cup. Get my gummy. Hi. Hey, Kansas. Oh. So what are you guys up to tonight? And you guys let me know if you can hear me or not. Let me put on my headset. Can you hear me? So the thing is that my now I've got stuff. I'm sorry, people. Hang on. I'm losing my mind over here. I got gummy all over my hand. I would get gummy all over my cards. So it's hot as hell, and the air conditioning unit that I have is one of those floor units. You know, it sits on the floor. And it's loud. It's so loud. So, did any of you arrive wanting a reading tonight? Because that's what I'm here for. I am here for you. Make sure this is on live chat. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the news said that the water around the coast of Florida is as hot as a hot tub. The water is literally hot. Hey, Lauren, would you put my Cash App in the comments? And I don't know whether or not you can, since you're an admin, if you can like pin that comment. Cash App is Brujo Ryan. BRUJORYAN. Well, that's a $, not a pound, but it's very scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It is very, very scary. The heating up of the planet, people are actually, it's like, when are people going to realize that we're destroying our environment? At what point in time you're going to wait for the earth to turn into a living hell? Literally a living hell. You're going to wait until the earth is a living hell. I swear. Hey, Toxica, I got a reading I got your money, but it's not showing up. It says it's pending. I need you to like send me that money before I can give you the reading. Okay. So when I get your $21, then I'll give you a reading. Okay. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Julie. So what is going on with you guys? What are you up to? I don't know. I don't work on Sundays and Mondays, and I don't really know when I'm going live. Um, it's just like hit or miss with me. Ah, I got your cash. I got your cash, Toxica. So I'm gonna go ahead and start shuffling up your cards, and you're gonna be my first read of the night. Today was a calm day for me, quiet day for me. You're good, Toxica. It's not like I don't trust you, but I don't trust you. No, no offense, but I didn't know whether or not you're one of those people that would say you're sending me money and then as soon as the reading is over, like not give it. Like I can't deal with. I'm a sex worker. I've been in the sex work industry for the past 16 years. I don't play those kind of games. Are you my Facebook friend? Are we friends on Facebook, Toxica? You don't have to tell me who you are, but I was just wondering whether or not you're one of my friends on Facebook or one of my people from TikTok. So I don't want to forget to say my prayer. I always say a prayer before I start doing my readings to bring in divine protection and also divine guidance. So tonight I want to give praise, honor, and glory to Oludumare, who is the owner of all possible outcomes, the owner of the pot that's never exhausted, that is God. I want to give praise, honor, and glory to the Egun, the ancestors, and to my Orishas, and to my Loa, and the spirits that walk with me, that help me do these divinations. Most importantly, I want to give praise, honor, and glory to Oshun, who is my mother, the leader of the Ajay, Iyami, the divine mothers, and also to Eshu, who is, well, the person who is control of opening and closing doors for us. So I always say a prayer asking for my Orishas and asking for my Loa to be with me, help me Whenever you do divination for yourself, you should also say a prayer asking your spirit guides, your guardian angel, whoever it is that you work with, to be with you so that they can give you the proper messages. All those highly elevated ancestors and highly elevated spirits. It's hard for me to like talk about spirituality. It's hard for me to talk about my spirituality and not come off sounding religious. This is a really difficult subject to talk about. So I love my spirituality, and I love where I'm at in life on my spiritual path. And I'm very enthusiastic about it, but I'm mindful that I don't sound like I'm trying to preach at people, because I was raised in a crazy conservative Christian cult and an evangelical cult that was, I was trained to be an evangelizer. I was trained to try to convert people to the Jehovah's Witness religion. See what I'm saying? So because I was raised in such a crazy cult, I mean, it's amazing that I was able to overcome enough religious trauma in order to join another spirituality or another spiritual path. And I'm not wrong. I don't think I did not choose wrongly. I felt like I choose very rightly on my path. So I hope when I pray and stuff like that, you guys don't think I'm trying to be like religious or preachy. I mean, I literally want the power of the spirits to be with me when I'm doing readings. You know what I'm saying? So, Toxica, I'm glad that you follow me on TikTok. And I want you to, if you've never been to one of my live readings before, I want you to know that I use 2 packs of tarot cards, and I use 2 packs of oracle cards when I do readings, because, well, my spirits told me that I needed to use 2 decks whenever I read somebody. Yeah, I mean, it's just you. So Lauren was raised the same way that I was raised. So you understand what I mean. Hey, Sherry Bell. I don't read reverse cards. There's no reason to read reverse cards. All of the messages that you need are in the cards, face up. I mean, the only thing you're doing is reversing the meaning if it goes face down, and that is unnecessary. It is not necessary. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying anyone is wrong for doing reversals. I just choose not to. I just find it to be unnecessary. I also don't put any particular significance or importance about where the cards are laying on my table. I don't do a Celtic cross spread or any other kind of spread that has to do with like this card means that because it's sitting here and all of that. I just lay down cards, and the cards that speak to me are the ones that I read. See what I'm saying? That's kind of like how I read cards. If a card is sitting close to the center of the spread, that might make some significant. That might be significant, so I always say so. But if anybody else has questions about how I, do my readings, you're more than welcome to ask. I need you to also understand, if you hear me say the same thing to more than one person, like if the same card comes up, I need you to understand something else. My cards speak in absolutes. What does that mean? It means that the 10 of wands always means that meaning. The moon card always has a particular meaning. The fool card always has a particular meaning. So for me, the cards speak for themselves. The message that you're trying to get is from the spiritual world, and the spiritual world is talking to you through these cards. So it's my job as an interpreter just to give you the interpretation of the card that you pull. Does that make sense? And anything that comes up psychically in mediumship when I'm working, that's up to you to figure out, like, what's coming through. I can only give you messages, but I can give you messages, but only you can derive the meaning from what that message means. Thank you all 10 people who have come to my live to say hello. Please make sure that you subscribe and like my channel. You can also ask me any questions you want to about religion, philosophy, or magie. I'm more than willing to talk about those things also. My spiritual path. I might have to take a pee break at some point in time. All right, Toxica, we're almost there. Hold on. I got to make sure your cards are shuffled up nice and good so that the messages that come through for you are, I guess you could say reliable, chaotically reliable. Oh my God. Thank you, Summer. That's very sweet. Yeah, my energy's changed a lot over the past 3 years, hasn't it? A lot. Hey, Nana. Hi, love. Good to see you, my quantum friend. My quantum friend. We are entangled. Okay, Toxica. Are you ready for your reading? Here we go. Let's see what the spirit world has to say to you. And I'm setting my alarm for 21 minutes. I'm getting my coffee out of the way. Let's find out what's up. Okay. You're going to be having financial problems if you're not already having financial problems. So you need to pay attention that you don't spend money like on anything. Like, don't get on Amazon and start blowing all of your paycheck, okay? Because there's going to be some kind of situation that's going to come up within the next 3 months that is going to challenge you financially. So at any possible time, save money. Don't spend money on anything you don't need to spend money on, okay? There's a whole bunch of other things coming through in your reading. I don't know if you are a male or a female. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that the spirit is telling you that if you're in a relationship with someone or you're screwing around, that there could be an unwanted pregnancy if, I guess, contraception or protection isn't used. Unless you are trying to get pregnant or unless you're trying to get someone pregnant. And if it doesn't mean that you're whoring around like I do, it means that sex, sexuality, eroticism, sensuality, and fertility are very important themes in your life. You have a lot of sexual energy, okay? And I hope that doesn't embarrass you, me throwing that out there for you. But that means learning how to transmute that erotic and sensual energy into spiritual energy, and also turn spiritual energy into erotic energy is very important, because whether people know it or not, sexual energy is magical energy. Magical energy is sexual energy. It's creative energy. The same energy that it takes to produce life is the same kind of energy that it takes to practice magie. Okay. Do you feel me? Do you see what I'm saying? So Toxica, I don't know whether or not you practice any particular spiritual path. I don't know if you're practicing witch or not. But there's a really great book called Urban Tantra. Okay, Urban Tantra. And that book is about sacred sensuality, sexuality, and also how to work with sexual energy. I would recommend that you get that book. In my Earthcraft Oracle, you pulled the Rise card, which is this beautiful spirit person embodying flame and fire, which is the energy of the sun. Spirit is telling you that right now in your life, you need to rise up, okay? Either rise up like the phoenix, or rise up, and stand up for who you are and what you believe in, okay? You're in a period of metamorphosis right now. In my herbal astrology deck, Palo de Arco, you pulled Metamorphosis, okay? It's so funny because in this particular deck, Palo de Arco has been used as an herb when it in the context of working with women's reproductive health. And there is a shedding uterus. There is a shedding uterus that is on this particular card. So it's really talking about transformation and growth. It seems like right now the theme of your reading is transformation and growth. So coming through in the Rise card and also coming through in the Metamorphosis card. That's really, really great. Spirit is also saying that you have a lot of protection around you, that you're divinely protected. And that comes through in the Rue card, in the Herbal Astrology Oracle. It's funny because the astrological planets that are related to the Rue card is the Sun, and that looks like Pluto. The Sun and Pluto, those are two very interesting planetary combinations to have with one another. The Sun represents the self. In Hindu astrology, or the kind of astrology I practice, the Sun represents the self, the great self, the higher self. That would be your sun sign. Your rising sign represents your ego, okay, or the face that you wear, that you put out into the world, how people acknowledge you, like your personality characteristics that are attached to the mundane world. That's very interesting because Pluto is the ego destroyer. Pluto as a planet is responsible for helping you overcome egotism and helping you overcome this concept of your little self. Does that make sense? Hey, everybody who's come in, thank you for coming. I'm doing a reading right now. I told you about the financial related issues. And my friend, you pulled those financial related issues twice. There's other stuff that's going on in you right now. You're dealing with a lot of, ooh, ouch, shame, and also some kind of sadness and hurt. Whenever I was looking at your cards, I'm pulling some cards over here that aren't necessarily good for you. And this is a public reading, so you paid for it. So I'm telling you exactly what I see. There is this concept in the Five of Swords, in the Three of Swords, that there is struggle, conflict, and inner healing work that needs to be done on your child, your inner child. So I would definitely get therapy. I don't know if you have ever been SA'd in your life, but it seems almost like there is some kind of abuse that might have happened to you when you were young. You might not even remember it, which is creating all kinds of uh, internalized feelings of sadness. So if you've been struggling with, some low-key depression, or you feel like you keep running into a brick wall when it comes to relationships, or you feel like you're having a difficult time dealing with, PTSD or things like that, it's very good to get therapy. And I'm just going to put this out there to everybody, okay? Therapy is great. Medication for your mental and behavioral health problems is great. It's good. There's this kind of lie that circulates around TikTok that if you take behavioral health medication, like if you take your lamotrigine or you take your whatever drugs you take in order to keep yourself sane, that in some kind of way that's going to like damage your psychic abilities, that you're not going to be able to perceive things psychically if you take drugs. Let me tell you something. I take risperidone. Okay, I take an antipsychotic medication, and I still can see and hear and talk to spirits. So that doesn't affect me at all, okay? You cannot practice magic. You can't practice witchcraft or voodoo or any of the things, that are spiritual or yoga. You can't practice those things and be good at it if you're not emotionally stable. First, you have to be emotionally and mentally stable before you can practice these occult arts. Because if you're not stable and grounded in reality, you can go into spiritual psychosis. You can become a megalomaniac. Like, just scroll for 5 minutes on Witch Talk and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. So it's very, very important for you to stay grounded. And if you're on medication, continue to take your medication, okay? I just wanted to put that out there for anybody who had a question about medication. There's somebody, Toxica, there's somebody in your life that is creating problems for you. There's someone in your life who is either taking advantage of you or lying to you, someone who's not being honest with you, somebody who is holding back on providing information that could either be harmful or helpful to you. Is there anyone in your life right now that you have been suspicious of not telling the truth? If you have felt that way, then this is your confirmation that there might be someone around you who doesn't have your best interest in mind. All right, let's see what else is going on over here. I hope you're writing all this stuff down or screen recording or something. Oh, Lord, she said it. Or he said it. The husband. Oh, man. Okay. Well, I'm not going to touch that, but there's your confirmation, girl. Hi. You have a grandmother spirit that is stepping forward for you tonight. And this grandmotherly spirit that I see stepping forward for you, she seems like she got long brown hair that comes down past her shoulders. She's coming to me as a woman between the ages of 40 and 50. She is wearing some kind of dress that is red, and it looks like it's crushed velvet or some kind of velvety red dress. She's wearing a blue scarf, and her name is like Estelle, starts with an E, or Esty, Estelle, Elizabeth, something with an E. You might or might not know your lineage, your ancestry, your tree. You might have never done any kind of ancestor work, and that's okay if you haven't. But it seems to me that you have this woman who's coming to you. Another thing that I feel like she's either comes from southern France or Italy. This particular person is someone who lived very close to a vineyard, and I see grapes, and I see wine, and I see like Greek food or Italian food. It's like that. It's like Italy, Greece, southern France. Like I can't. I know that sounds like I'm just a very bad medium. I can't get a exact pinpointed location on this spirit's vicinity when it comes to their origin. But what I do know is they've got long brown hair, they've got brown eyes. She's between the ages of 40 and 50. She's wearing a red crushed velvet dress. She's wearing a blue scarf around her neck. She's got an olive skin complexion, and she looks like she could either be Greek, Italian, or like a dark-eyed French woman. Okay? This is a spirit that's around you that you need to investigate. You need to try to find out who that is. You also have a grandfatherly spirit that's coming to me. And in life, this grandfatherly spirit was someone who liked to, I think he liked to fence, or he liked to play with swords, or he collected swords. He could have been a medieval knight, or he could have practiced some kind of martial arts. But this particular guy that I see has short brown hair that's very, very straight. He's also has a olive complexion to him. He's got a mustache. I see him wearing some kind of white open collared button up shirt. And I see him holding onto a sword, and he's holding onto the sword like this, like he's getting ready to attack, or he's taken a position. So this is somebody who is trained in life in order to handle a weapon. This isn't just someone who's holding a sword. This is somebody who's actually a trained warrior. Okay, so remember that. You also have a spirit around you. I don't know if you are a witch or a practicing witch, but Hecate, you got a lot of Hecate energy around you. Hecate is a titan. She comes from the Greek pantheon of gods, but she's known as the world soul. She's very, very popular among witches. What I'm saying is I feel Hecate around you. I feel Hecate's energy around you. And if you don't know who Hecate is, you might want to learn about her and see whether or not you want to put an offering out for her. Another very important message that's coming through for you is you have your holy guardian angel, whoever it is that rules your head, okay? And all the other spirits of the dead that are around you in your spiritual court are in alignment. You pulled the star card. And whenever I pull the star card, it talks about someone whose spiritual court or spiritual constellation is in alignment. And I'm not trying to upsell you in this reading, but if you have never had your birth chart read, you might want to think about having it done, and I do that. I do read birth charts. You can just go to my link tree and follow the link to my website, and you can buy a birth chart. But if you haven't had your astrology done, that would be the next step before you go to another psychic medium and before you pay for another tarot session or something with someone. Save up the money and get your birth chart done in the kind of astrology that I do, Eastern astrology. You have another spirit around you that seems like it's in your spiritual court, and this particular spirit that's coming to me is coming to me kind of like I guess in my tradition you could call him like a wizard. He's some kind of mage or some kind of person that I can't see their face, although I feel like they're white, and they're wearing some kind of dark navy blue cape or hooded cape. I don't think I was wrong when I brought up the whole situation about you getting your birth chart read, because I feel like on this person's cape I see like moons and stars and other celestial phenomenon. I'm thinking that you might have a spirit in your spiritual court that deals a lot with astrology or has something to do with astrology. You pull the suspended person card, and the suspended person card is the hangman card in the herbal tarot deck. And this particular spirit is pointing to this card. And what that card means is that you need to stop allowing people to walk all over you. You need to stop allowing people to take advantage of you, okay? You allow people to use you as a rug. Don't be a doormat. You need to learn to stand up for yourself, and you need to stop giving away your time, your energy, your money, your effort, the punani, to people who don't give a fuck about you. And I said that as nicely as I possibly could. All right? You need to be very, very cautious about who you give your love away to, and also who you give your energy away to. Don't be a martyr. You're not helping anybody by sacrificing yourself on the cross upside down every single day. So you need to be very, very cautious about who you allow. What you need to do is, I say this a lot. You need to take a piece of paper. You need to draw a line down the center of that piece of paper. And on one side, you need to write down all the names of the people who drain you of your energy. On the other side of the piece of paper, you need to write down all of the people that you're around that give you energy. Give you energy. Do you see what I'm saying? So, there are people that, they are friends. I would consider them friends, but when I interact with them, they drain me. Their energy drains me. Their communication style drains me. I feel like I'm being drained when I'm around that person. Okay. And even though I might like the person, I'm going to be very cautious about how much time, energy, and effort I put into that person, because I can't be drained all the time. On the other hand, there are people that I love and I care about and are friends of mine, and I could talk to them all the time. I could talk to them all day. I could talk to them all night. I can be in the same room with them for a week and not get tired of them because they don't drain me of my energy. See? So what I'm saying is, you need to pay attention to the people in your life that drag you down and the people in your life that lift you up, and then act accordingly. You also have another spirit around you, and I'm going to throw this out there to you. This is going to be like my last message to you. You have a spirit around you that's very, very strong in your spiritual court. This is a road opening spirit. This is a spirit of communication. It's got a lot of Mercury energy around it, and it is a road opener. It's like a crossroads spirit. In my tradition, we call him Eshu or Elegua, depending on whether or not you're in Lukumi or Ifa. But that particular entity is all about communication. It's all about crossroads and changes in life. What's interesting is that Hecate is a crossroads entity, and so is Eshu. They're liminal spirits, okay? They exist in all places at all times. That's why they're who they are. That's the most amazing, beautiful part about those two entities, if that makes sense. Well, as you can hear, our time is up, and I hope that that particular reading helped you in some kind of way, brought you some kind of revelation, or gave you information about your path that you can use. You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. So what's up, you people? What's up, my people? What are we talking about tonight? What's on the carving block? What's in the tea? Thanks, Lauren. You know what I find is really super interesting? This like Senate hearings that Nana was showing today when she was live, the unpacking of the Senate hearings surrounding UFOs. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Unidentified alien projects. Uh, it's crazy to me. I'm like, when are they going to like disclose that they know that they have this stuff? I mean, what is it? No one's going to be shocked. No one's going to be shocked. The world isn't going to end when they say we have proof that there's alien life and it has been here and we actually have the biological matter from it and we have spaceships. Like no, the civilization is not going to end if the government reveals that because everybody knows that already. I do. I would love to go live with you and have this conversation. I did not see everything they were talking about, so you can totally give me the rundown. I saw like bits and pieces, snippets. And here's the other stupid thing. You get on CNN.com, MSNBC.com, FoxNews.com, or any of those other .com newses, and guess what? It's not an article. It's not a thing. I think I saw on like CNN.com, like there was a mention of it, but it wasn't like, they're talking about Hunter Biden and all of this, and this huge picture of Hunter's fucking face, you know, and like all of this stuff, and Mitch McConnell freezing for 19 seconds, taking a poop on himself. I'm sorry. Every time I think about that moment, I just see the motherfucker's face and it makes me laugh. But, they're talking about Mitch McConnell uh, being frozen. And here we're looking at like, there's a whole Senate hearing over here of this guy saying that the government is concealing all of this alien shit and like nobody's paying attention to it. It's stupid. This place is so stupid. I hate it here. You froze. You froze. What did you miss, Jen? What you missed is we're talking about aliens. Talking about aliens. I mean, so for me, religion, spirituality is like art. Religion and spirituality is like art in that it mirrors reality or it expresses intangible concepts and ideas and feelings through images, song, dance, and iconography and symbolism, right? So religion is like just an expression of how we cope with the world or how we're able to make sense of the world. See, there's three realities, okay? There's reality as it actually is, like how everything actually works. Then there is the reality that we can perceive, and our ability to perceive what's really going around us is really, really, really skewed, okay? Like nobody is actually perceiving reality. No one is actually perceiving reality. What you're perceiving is filtered through many, many different lenses, okay? Starting with your eyes, if you can even see. And then the third reality is the stories that we tell ourselves about how all of this works. It's what we buy into. It's what we choose to accept as real, unreal, fact, fiction, true story, history, science, whatever. You feel me? So those are the three realities. Reality as it is, reality as it can be measured and perceived or examined, and then the reality, which is your personal story. It's your narrative. It's your personal narrative. Like, I am Ryan, I'm this person, spiritual person doing spiritual things, communicating these spiritual messages to people on YouTube. That's my role, and the narrative that's going on in my head is that's why I'm here. That's my purpose. That's what I do. See what I'm saying? So you have that. And whenever you look at religious traditions and philosophy and spirituality, what you see is in a lot of cultures, I mean, pretty much the ancient cultures, there's this concept. There are people that came here from the sky. They're the gods, okay? They're the people that showed up here and created everything that you see. Bye, Nana. Much love to you. So every religion has like a creation myth. And all of those myths basically say the same thing, that we were created. Somebody made us, somebody constructed us, put us together, or biologically engineered us in some kind of way. Hey, Aaron. You guys aren't very talkative tonight. I must have all of the people in my room that basically sit and listen to my lives. You guys are so quiet. You're like little peeps. You need to give me a topic, or you need to ask me a question or something so that I have something to go on over here. We ain't talking about anything. I wasn't talking about anything but aliens. Chat about transmediumship. Oh, wow. And happy birthday to you, baby. Good for you. I just had a birthday on the 18th. I turned 43 years old. My live, are you talking about the one with all of those Norse pagans? With all those crazy people? That that was really crazy. That was I'm still confused about that. I still don't know what the hell happened in that live. I'm still confused about it. Shay, yes, my 40s are significantly better than my 30s, my 20s, and even the first decade of my life, first 20 years of my life. My 40s are turning out to be all right. But then I was also told by a Vedic astrologer about 20 years ago that my 40s were going to be my best years, that I would achieve the most in my 40s. I would do the most things in my 40s. My astrologer also told me that I was like fine wine, that I was going to age gracefully, and that's great. Hold on, let me go back and make sure I'm paying attention to the conversation. So we said we were going to talk about trance mediumship, and then also Summer just said it was a hot mess and infuriating to see people try to one up each other. Yeah, I don't understand what that whole one upmanship was. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why that blonde-haired woman in the middle, whoever she was, I don't understand why she asked me if I had a psychology degree. She was like, "Well, do you have a psychology degree? Do you have a degree in psychology?" She's like, "I have a degree in psychology." No, I'm not. I don't have a degree in psychology because what I do is spiritual work. I'm a spiritual worker. When people come to me to get a reading, they're not coming to me because they think I'm a therapist. They're coming to me because I talk to the dead and people get spiritual messages from me. Like, I'm not here to psychoanalyze you. And one of the things that I thought was really weird about what they said was it sounded like to me, like unless I didn't understand what they were saying, it sounded like to me when somebody comes to them with a spiritual problem, the first thing they start doing is dragging the person and putting them through some kind of like analysis, Jungarian or Freudian analysis to try to decide whether or not it's the person that's the problem. Don't you think most people would sit around and ask themselves the question, is it me? Before going to somebody else to find out like if their dead grandmother is coming to them? What the hell is that all about? Like here's the thing about them. They practice white people magic. I don't practice white people magic. I know that sounds that might be offensive to some people. I am a diasporic practitioner. I am a Creole person and a Creole practitioner. Like my spirituality is traditional. I feel like I've always been traditional my whole life. I've always been a traditional witch and I've always been a voodoo person. I'm just fully manifesting that now at this late stage of the game in life, but I've always been traditional. So all the stuff that they were talking about didn't make any sense to me. And I'm sure as hell positive that all of those crazy philosophical concepts they were coming up with, that traditional Norse people that practice Norse paganism or practice their Norse spirituality did any of that shit. I'm sorry. I think I missed something. You didn't miss anything, Jackie. Right. So if somebody comes to me to get a reading, like just now, you guys saw me do a reading live. If somebody pays me $20 to read their cards, I'm going to say a prayer and I'm going to lay down the cards, and whatever the Spirit says, the Spirit says. If the person who comes to me who's getting a reading is clearly exhibiting signs that they are mentally ill, or they're struggling with mental and behavioral health problems, I will tell them, you need to get a therapist, you need to talk to somebody about this, or you need a psychiatrist. There's medication that you need to take because it sounds like you're not balanced. I have said that to people. You are not balanced, you're not thinking straight, you're not in your right mind. You need help. You need help that I am not qualified to give you. And so I point them in the direction of a therapist. But it's not my job. It's outside of my pay grade. And I don't have, whatever. What about trance mediumship? Well, what is mediumship? In general, is someone that has the ability to communicate messages from. What is a medium? I had a lot I wanted to say too, but see, I'm trying to teach myself to be more patient and not to get aggravated and heated too easily in my lives. I let the people talk, but believe me, they're not coming up on my live again. They wasted like 2 hours of my life that I'm never going to get back because I literally sat there waiting for them to explain or answer the question that I asked, and nobody ever answered my question. I asked a question, nobody ever answered my question. I never got a response that satisfied my question. See what I'm saying? A medium is someone who is able to channel messages that are occult. And when I say occult, I mean hidden or not clearly visible, pulling from the astral, pulling from the ether, whatever it is you want to call it, receiving messages from the other side. That could be messages from spirits of the dead. That could be messages from divinities, messages from angels or orishas or Loa or thanks, Crystal. Well, I haven't always been respectable though. But what is trance mediumship? Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to yawn in your face. What is trance mediumship? Trance mediumship really has to do with the person going into a state that is ecstatic. It's an ecstatic state. People that get mounted by the Holy Spirit, you know, like in the Pentecostal church, when you see those people start speaking in tongues, and they're, you know, jumping around and they're shaking and they start dancing and rolling all over the ground and like mosh pitting each other. That's trance mediumship. I mean, they're in some kind of trance. They're in a heightened state of awareness, or, you know, some mechanism in the brain turns on where they start channeling some kind of what they believe to be divine energy, and they start, you know, going crazy. So that's kind of like a form of trance mediumship, but to me, it's a low level. It's a low level of mediumship. When I say low level, what I mean is there are different kinds of spirits, and depending on the spirits a person works with, they're going to manifest themselves differently. As an example, in my tradition, or in the traditions that I practice, our spirits, when they mount and possess someone or come into possession, have the ability to talk, communicate messages. Like, I would consider that to be a higher level being, because it has the ability to actually produce. Like, if you're like speaking in tongues and going blah 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 blah, and you're shaking around, I mean, obviously you're having a spiritual experience. There's something going on in the brain there. There's something that is riding or attached to that person that's making them behave in some kind of way. But that doesn't mean that that person is receiving a message that's going to help them in life. And it doesn't mean that they're projecting into the world or giving a message that's going to be helpful to other people. You see what I'm saying? And so in my tradition, when the spirits come down and mount and come into possession, they will look at you square in the eye, and they will talk to you, and they will tell you in very clear terms what it is that you need to do. See what I'm saying? So mediumship and trance mediumship is important. There's other ways to go into trance, though. I mean, obviously you can use drugs, you can trip, or whatever. DMT. Did you know that your body produces DMT? Did you know that under certain circumstances, your body can dump DMT into your system and give you the same experience that actually taking the drug would give you, because of the fact that your body can become flooded with DMT? That's a real thing. It's not a joke. And sometimes that happens because of an issue with medication. You do not. I've had it. That's why I'm telling you, Spooky. You don't need a DMT dump in the brain. My body did that. My body did that in 2018. I had a shamanic breakdown. I had a spiritual awakening. That's when everything changed for me. And it was brought on by a medication related issue. And I had a DMT dump, throw me into spiritual psychosis that lasted for a week. It ended up, with me getting tackled in Winthrop, Massachusetts, and strapped down to a table and taken in an ambulance to the funny farm for, like a week. Yeah. So, uh, if you're going to do some kind of substance to go into trance, it is always very, very important that you find the proper environment to do that. Because let me tell you, plant teachers, that's what they are. They're plant teachers. Ayahuasca, cannabis, psilocybin. They're teachers. They're teaching plants. They teach you something about reality. They teach you something about life. And they are unforgiving. They are hard teachers, because once you consume the medicine and it goes down and it gets in your bloodstream, well, baby, guess what? You are in for that ride, and you are going to ride that journey until it's over. Until it's over. Wow, Heather, that sounds awesome sauce. Summer, that also sounds like awesome sauce. It's dangerous. Like, people need to take it really seriously. You know what I'm saying? People need to take it seriously, because if you're not at a certain level of spiritual confidence or spiritual, if you're not, like, if you don't know yourself, those experiences can create great crises that are not good. Julie, I'm just fine. Yeah, so you have to respect these things, because obviously the medicine is going to show you what it is that you need. I mean, in my opinion, uh, I am a cannabis consumer, which is funny because I wasn't always a cannabis consumer. That's something that happened later on in life. I used medicinal cannabis to help me with my chronic pain. So I use medicinal cannabis. I never use enough. I never use enough cannabis to be like blazed. I don't like feeling high. I don't like feeling high. I like feeling relaxed enough that I can get on my yoga mat and practice, weed yoga. But I don't want to be like stoned. You know what I'm saying? So I use just enough cannabis to loosen me up. I don't use, like, I'm not a stoner. That I have, like, I mean, I used to get super stoned when I started using medicinal weed, uh, especially if I overdosed, I used too much. And those sessions that I went into, they're like the panic sessions where you feel like you're dying and you got to go to the hospital. I experienced a lot of those. And whenever I was having that experience, what cannabis taught me to do was to slow down, to stop, to focus on my breath, focus on my body, and be present. That's what cannabis taught me. And trying to keep your focus and your breath under control and your motor skills and focusing on yoga in the midst of going through a very, very powerful high, that's hard. It's not easy. That's crazy, Jackie. So the thing is that growing up in my religion that I was in, the JWs, they didn't do any of that. They didn't do any of like, you know, getting mounted by the Holy Spirit or speaking in tongues or any of that stuff. Yeah. So that's why I have my risperidone. Because if I go into existential crisis and I feel like I'm literally slipping out of reality, I've got to do something that's going to bring, like, snap me back. Man, I hate it when that happens. It's not even a joke. And then, like, the next day when I wake up, I feel like I've been in a coma for a month, or like I was under anesthesia, and like literally the whole room is sideways. One time I went into this really bad existential crisis. I've been in multiple existential crises since I've been here in my new home. And I took my medication and got knocked out. I went to Target the next day and like it was like the entire room was like sideways. Existential crisis is spelled with an X, EX. Just so you know. If it sounds like I'm saying existential, it's because I'm from the South and I speak honky. No, you're fine. Existential crisis, an existential crisis is when you feel literally, what is the word? Debilitated. It's like a crushing, debilitating anxiety that literally makes you feel like who you are at a cellular level is like coming apart. It's like all of the molecules in your body just decided that they were going to like go in every single direction. That's the only way I can describe it. Existential crisis comes from like fear of the unknown, fear of death, PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. If you've gone through a lot of trauma, you might have an existential crisis. People get triggered over concepts like time not existing or infinity, the concept of infinity. Like there are things that like make people like feel like they're having existential dread, is what I call it. It's a crisis of being. God, Lauren, yes, it's a crisis of being. Who am I? Why am I here? Yeah. Well, the great thing is you don't have to be afraid of death because everybody's going to die. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you can get out of that one. There's no reason to be upset about something that you have absolutely no control over. Um, The thing about death is, okay, so some of the people that are in my room are a part of my mentorship program. I have a mentorship program, everybody. And my mentorship program is done as a private group on Facebook. And I post stuff every single week and I go live in the group and I talk to the people that are in my group about where they're at spiritually and what they're trying to do. Because I'm kind of like a spiritual life coach. That's what I am. I'm a spiritual life coach. People come to me and I help them figure out whatever it is that they need to do on their journey. And I posted a video talking about the Hindu or Vedanta's view on life after death. And there's kind of like this concept. There's a concept of like a tripartite part of an individual or agent. That sounds terrifying, Aaron. That's terrifying. Why hasn't anybody made that movie where gravity starts to gravity starts to lose its power and people just start like floating? Wouldn't that be a great movie? Like everybody wakes up one day and they're walking around and everything's fine, and then gravity falls out and everybody who's indoors like hits the ceiling, and everybody who's outdoors like just kind of like, my God, that would be terrifying. That's terrifying. Fuck that shit. I'm never leaving my house. Oh my God. That's terrifying. But that would be a really, really amazing story, right? That would be like an amazing movie. Um, you're fine, Jen. You don't have to stick around. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, yeah, life after death. And so like there's this concept that there's a physical body and then there's a subtle body. And this is pertaining to the video that I put in my group. That there is a physical body and there's a subtle body. What is the difference between the two? It took me a long time to understand this, but that video really helped me. So your physical body is your vessel, okay? It's your material brain. It is the physical body. It's matter. Whereas um, the subtle body is your prana, life force, chi, ashe, whatever word you want to use to call it. It's the energy that animates the body. It's the energy that keeps the body going, okay? The energy is going to inhabit the physical body until literally the physical body breaks down and absolutely can't go any farther, and then the subtle body and the physical body um, separate from one another. The physical body and the energy body separate from one another. And it's the energy body which is the subtle body. And part of the subtle body is the mind, right? Because your brain is the physical stuff inside your head that makes the body work. But the mind is obviously not the brain. The mind is something else. I'm a dualist in that way. I believe there's a difference between the mind and the body, or the mind and the brain. So the energy that is you, which is what would be considered the conscious agent, leaves. And when the subtle body leaves the physical body, you are now a spirit. You have a subtle body, and now you're moving in a different kind of space, which is not embodied. And the ego is also part of the subtle body. It is part of that mind slash energy. So when I'm talking about spirits, okay, I'm talking about conscious agents that exist in energy form. And we're surrounded by them all the time because energy is everywhere. So we live in a world full of spirits. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is the traditional concept. So then you say, well, what happens in the subtle body? Well, I mean, I guess it's the subtle body that travels to all the different realms. Well, there's also this concept of reincarnation or rebirth in Eastern philosophy and also in African religion. We believe in reincarnation, which is an old belief. And the concept in Hinduism when it comes to reincarnation is there has to be some consciousness that survives death to reincarnate. Why? Because it is the individual, it is the conscious agent that generates this thing called karma that has to pay for its karma or receive the benefits of its karma from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. So in Hinduism, there's this concept that there is a self, and that self, which is Atma, travels from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. Today it's Ryan, tomorrow it's somebody else, after that it's somebody else, but it's always the self, okay? It's always the Atma, your pure consciousness that is making these incarnations or on this journey of spiritual evolution. You see what I'm saying? Reapers, you mean people that come and get the dead? Yeah, that's true. I mean, there has to be. I mean, when Witchfoot was dead, when Jennifer was dead, she clearly interacted with beings that were existing outside of time and space and definitely chose to withhold information from her. You'd want to be a reaper? Oh, absolutely not. I don't want to go reaping up all those Trump supporters once those motherfuckers are dead. Let me tell you something. I have a belief, and it's like just because you're dead doesn't make you a better person. Like you don't automatically become a good person because you die. I don't know where the new age love and light people get that shit. Like suddenly like you're not a person anymore and like now you're great. Like your asshole father who was a son of a bitch and beat your mother and like abused you, somehow he died and now like on the other side they are miraculously better people. I don't believe that concept. I think that a good indicator of how a person is in death is how they are in life. Thanks, Julie. Right. So that's where the concept of unelevated spirits come from. These are and here's the problem, and here's let's get down to it. The problem with allowing low level entities and spirits to be around you is because they cipher their energy off of you. They cipher their energy off of you. They're like there are spirits that are parasitic. Okay, they're like leeches. They basically attach themselves to you and they will just suck and suck and suck you dry. Okay, those can be spirits of obsession, um, spirits that are trying to get their kicks by basically reliving through your flesh the experiences in life that they miss, which also have to do with like some sexual perversions and drug and alcohol addiction. It's one thing to say, I'm going to go on a psilocybin journey and I'm going to trip in the afternoon mildly in order to have a spiritual experience and experience the medicine from the plant. And it's basically when you're like using cannabis or some other kind of ayahuasca or DMT, who you are is having a direct experience with the plant, with the medicine. Okay, you're interfacing with the spirit of the plant spirit medicine. But it's very different to be like a drunk that's going to the bar every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, picking up a different person and screwing around in the parking lot or in the back seat of your car and constantly being around negative energy and also taking on other people's energy. It's kind of like that concept that your mama said, be careful who you sleep with, because when you sleep with them, you sleep with everyone that they've slept with. That's kind of true, because you are going to we affect each other's energy. Crystal, that's a good question. And Lauren came back with a very good answer. And there's another answer I can give you, which is when you come into contact with a spirit that is suffering, you can say prayers on behalf of that spirit. You can call your spiritual team. You can call your angels. You can say a prayer to the divine on behalf of the entity, to find forgiveness, to find solace, and to try to move it along. That's kind of like what a death doula is. I don't even understand that terminology. Where you're just a spiritualist to me. So if you're a spiritualist and you work with lower level entities and you're trying to get that entity to move on, you're directing it towards the light because you want it to move towards its next incarnation. Because so if you're a dead person or you're a dead spirit or you're a ghost, your only hope, right, if you're stuck in the purgatory state, or the bardo is what the Buddhists call it. The Buddhists call it the bardo. Catholics call it purgatory, whatever. If you're a spirit that's stuck in the bardo or in the purgatory, your only solution out is to reincarnate. The only solution out of that is to have a rebirth. So it gives you the opportunity to be able to work through whatever issues that have been holding you back. How do you know if it's real or not? What do you mean, Julie, baby? Can you be more clear? Like how can you tell whether or not a spirit is a real spirit or not? Like whether there's really a spirit there or not? Or the psychic phenomena that you're experiencing? Well, that's basically the question that I was asking those Norse pagans, those Norse neo-pagans the other night. Um, I was trying to get somebody to explain to me the difference between fantasizing and fantasy and these kind of like mind journeys or spiritual experiences people have, these really super in-depth, involved spiritual experiences people have when they say they're sitting there completely wide awake and conscious, trying to understand the difference between me jerking off and fantasizing about being in a gangbang. According to those people, technically I'm really fucking people. Like, how can you tell the difference between what's going on in your brain, in your mind, and what's not going? Like, see, to me, that's creative visualization. Creative visualization is sitting and going on like a personal journey where you're like creating the space for yourself as you're journeying through. Maybe at some point in time, the mind will start bringing you images or or give you visuals and things that you're not actively constructing. But I don't know how to get into that state without literally setting up a creative visualization. You have to create the space in your mind, to me, in order for the journey to happen. So I'm just trying to understand. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me give you an example. Earlier tonight, you heard me tell Toxica that I saw two spirits around them, and one of the spirits was a male, and one of the spirits was a female. And the images that I was getting in my head were kind of like they were random images. I just kind of allowed myself to relax. And when I allowed myself to relax, the images that were coming to my head were of this male and this female. The question really is how, here's the big question for people that pay me money. For the people that actually give me money to sit here and tell them what I see that is not tangible, all I can say is those images are images that come up into my head. And the images that are coming up into my head are the images that I'm going to tell you, and then you have to try to decipher or figure out exactly what that means. You see what I'm saying? And the only way I would know whether or not my psychic, what I'm picking up psychically, is accurate or not is if somebody that I'm reading actually tells me for a fact that they recognize the individual that I'm describing. And that happens to me all the time. I describe individuals, and the people that get readings from me, they are able to identify who those spirits are, whether they're spirits in their family or spirit guides. right, Lauren? That's what I'm talking about. So like when somebody tells me, yeah, so like, a spirit showed up and they like grabbed my arm and then we like went to Mars and we like there was an altar and then we did all this spiritual work and we did it on behalf of the earth, or this particular entity travels back and forth between this planet and another dimension, and I go with them, and when I'm on the other side, we do spiritual work and I come back. I don't understand how that's different from fantasy. I don't understand how that's different from just literal, like, passive daydreaming. I'm not trying to be a bitch about it. I'm not trying to be offensive in any kind of way. I'm just saying I don't see, and people say, well, that's witchcraft, that's magic. I don't see that as witchcraft and magic. To me, witchcraft is I want to see I want money in my life, so I'm going to get a bowl and I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to get some dirt and some grass from the bank and I'm going to put it in that bowl, and I'm going to take some coins and I'm going to take some dollar bills and I'm going to throw it in that bowl, and now I'm going to put other things in that bowl like rice, sticks of incense, other things that have, I guess you could say, that resonate with or vibrate in correspondence with money, and I'm going to put that bowl out and I'm going to set an intention and I'm going to call my spirits and I'm going to call the ancestors and I'm going to divine on it, and I'm going to say, well, this money bowl is going to bring me money, and I cast a spell. Like, to me, that's witchcraft. That's magic to me. If someone is in danger, taking a candle, writing their name on it, their birthday and their location, you know writing a sigil or calling a particular angel, or doing some other kind of working where you're anointing candles when you're burning herbs and incense and you're saying prayers, whether that's hoodoo or voodoo or Santeria or Catholicism or Wicca or Norse paganism or whatever the hell it is you practice, we all practice magic the same way. We're not all calling on the same people, but we're all practicing the same kind of magic, right? So there's nothing special about Catholicism because people in indigenous cultures do the same thing. They light candles, they say prayers, they call on their gods and goddesses. You see what I'm saying? So, like, to me, magic falls into two categories. It either falls into the category of witchcraft, or it falls into the category of theurgy, which is like ceremonial magic, or more ritualized magic, or magic that has to do with working with spirits and deities, particularly gods and goddesses and divinities. See what I'm saying? So witchcraft is something that you conjure. Witchcraft is something that you do. It's materials that you pull together and you make stuff. Whereas ceremonial magic has a lot more to do with um, calling on entities and singing songs, or the vibration of particular names, or the recitation of mantras. But this whole thing with the mental stuff, I don't get it. If I wanted to attract money to myself, and I wanted to do it by attracting a divinity or a deva to me in order to bring money to me, I could chant Shrim Klim Lakshmi Namaha, Shrim Klim Lakshmi Namaha, and I could sit and I could chant Shrim Klim Lakshmi Namaha, and by using that Sanskrit mantra, okay, on an energetic level, that mantra attracts money, wealth. It attracts wealth. So there are people that sit and chant Shrim Klim Lakshmi Namaha. They have a statue of Lakshmi. They put flowers around it. They put out an offering for it. They sit there with their incense burning and they chant to Lakshmi. And by doing that spiritual practice, they attract wealth into their life. Okay? Or if I needed wealth, I could go down to the river. I could talk to my mother. I could talk to Oshun. I could take oranges and honey and cinnamon, and a yellow candle. I could go down there and I could sit and have a picnic beside the river, and I could slice up oranges and put honey and cinnamon on the oranges and talk to Oshun and tell her what it is I need, that I need to pay my bills, that I need her to bring me some wealth, I need her to bring me some money, and, give her those oranges and sing her song and expect that by my faith and also through my, I guess you could say, my resonance with the Orisha, that she's going to help me out. And then, like I said before, there's the concept of the money bowl, or, you know, going down to the Botanica and buying yourself a money drawing candle, coming home and anointing it with oil and saying whatever prayers or conjurations that you're going to pray. Maybe you pray to your ancestors to bring you some money. So you light your candle, you put some ancestor money in a bowl. You know what I'm saying? But I don't understand the concept of the mental stuff. I mean, I guess it's like kind of like manifestation, you know? It's like I'm going to sit here and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to think about what it is that I want. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to see myself in Africa. I've always wanted to go to Africa. I've wanted to go to West Africa since I stepped on this path, since I started learning about African spirituality. So I see myself walking around in Ghana. You know, I can see myself walking around at the Benin Voodoo Festival. I can see myself standing at the Oshun Grove, you know, in Osogbo. But that's me visualizing myself there, but I'm not physically there. I want to be physically there. So I can sit and I can meditate on that image of me sitting beside the river, of Oshun's River in Osogbo, Nigeria. But that's me having a fantasy or a daydream. It's a way of me experiencing that reality without having to physically be there. But if I want to physically be there, then I need to do real world things. I need to physically do things that are going to move me in the direction of going there. Hey, Grant, baby. It's Grant the Witch. Yeah, that's just straight up manifestation work. But like there's real world actions that have to be taken in harmony with having the desire to manifest whatever it is. Like you can't sit and, you know, fantasize about having a new job without actively trying to find yourself a new job. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Could it be that I hate my job and I'm sitting here and I'm fantasizing about having a different job, and then like the next week, like my sister calls me and says, "Hey, somebody just quit at my job and they have an opening. Do you want it?" That kind of thing. That can happen. I mean, that would be the idea. That would be the concept that I would say a real world scenario of manifestation happening through thought. Exactly. Mhm. Okay. So, did I answer the question about trance mediumship? Or did you want to know how to become a trance medium? Even though I have the ability to feel spirits, get psychic messages from spirits, I'm not necessarily someone that is a trance medium. I feel like to a certain extent that when I'm doing spiritual work, my spirits are very close to me. I mean, I think it's the more you surrender and the more you release, the easier it is. Like as my mambo said, that you need to loosen up. You literally need to just like loosen up. Like everything needs to be looser. Your breath needs to be relaxed. You need to be in a good frame of mind. You need to your physical body, you shouldn't be holding on to any physical stress or tension. It's another reason why I think dancing is a very good way of getting into trance because the body is in movement. I'm totally rigid. Well, I mean, I have been mounted. I have been mounted, but like it's not a phenomenon that occurs frequently. Do you know what I'm saying? Uh, Hold on a second, people. Hold on a second. Hold on, people. I had a big fart. Did you hear it? I'm getting my chocolate. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I have chocolate chips. I bought myself some chocolate chips to put in oatmeal because I like chocolate chips and oatmeal. What have you been talking about? Trans trance mediumship is the spirit working through you in something like a visionary state. Yes, that's my opinion, Lauren. Yes. Mounting in like my tradition of like voodoo is when the spirit takes over full possession of the body and the individual person is not there anymore. Mediumship is a little bit different because I feel like there's something called partial possession. And in partial possession, the person is still there, but the spirit is also there. If you're in full possession, excuse me, if you're in full possession, you'll never remember what happened. If you're in partial possession, you'll remember what happened, but you will have been a passive participant. What, Jacqueline? What's so funny? So I'll give you an example of when I was possessed once. I was asleep. So I was living with a friend, a Puerto Rican drag queen named Mercedes. His name was Angel, but his drag name was Mercedes. And I was crashing at his place because my life used to be a shit show. And I was in bed with him. I was sleeping in his bed. He had this massive king-size bed, and I was sleeping in his room. One night, in the middle of the night, he said, I opened my eyes like that, and I rolled over, and I climbed up on top of him, and I put my hands on him, and I pushed him down into the bed, and I looked at him, and I started talking, blah, 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 blah. I started talking to him, but he didn't understand what it was I was saying. And he said, I went, ay, 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 ay. If you know, you know, okay? So then, as soon as I finished yelling at him, okay, I rolled back over and went right to sleep. I finished, I rolled over, went back to sleep. And he was like, hey, what's up? Yo, that was funny. What was that all about? Yo, Philip, are you awake? I was totally out. Totally out. Freaked him out. He got up, he went downstairs, he put money on his saint altar, he rang the bell, he prayed the rosary. I totally freaked him out. Me too, Summer. Well, I mean, it's always fascinating for me. I mean, of course, I've been to ceremonies where people are mounted by spirit. My my priestess got mounted by Oshun and talked to me. So I'm around people that do this kind of stuff all the time. And for some reason, it doesn't faze me. And you think it would based on the way I was raised. The way I was raised was so phobic to any kind of indigenous spirituality, it wasn't funny. And everything was evil, everything was bad, everything was satanic. Let me tell you when I was done with my father. You ready for this? Yes, I love my chocolate chips. They're semi-sweet. Let me tell you when I had it with my father, okay? I know I tell the same stories over and over again. I know. I tell the same stories over again. But this story is so important. You have to understand the mentality of my parents to understand why I'm the way I am. Okay? When I was like 10 years old, younger than that, like 8, my grandmother died when I was 10. And it was my grandmother who bought me this pendant. We were at Sears Roebuck, and we were walking around. We were in the jewelry section. And I had navigated over to where like all the like little wizards and mushrooms and things were, and the crystal necklaces and stuff. And I saw a pink rose quartz crystal pendant, plain rose quartz pendant. And I said, oh, I want that. I really, really want that. And my grandmother bought it for me, and she bought me a really nice little silver chain, and she put it on me, and I had a little rose quartz crystal necklace, right? So I go home, and my dad sees that I'm wearing this rose quartz necklace, and he says, where did you get that? And I said, Nan bought that for me. He said, you got to take that. You're going to take that off right now. You're going to take it back to your grandmother, and she's going to take it back. You're not allowed to have that. You're going to bring demons into my house. You're going to bring demons in the house by wearing this pink crystal. My grandmother went through the roof. She was pissed, okay? I went back to my grandmother's house. I was crying, I was like, Dad won't let me have it because it'll bring demons in the house. My grandmother got so mad. She called my dad on the phone and she ripped him a new asshole. She was offended that he thought that she, as a good Christian woman, was going to buy something that was going to bring demons into her house. My grandmother was awesome. My grandmother was a saint. She did a lot of good things for people. I love my grandmother. Okay. I don't have any how about this? I don't have any negative memories about my grandmother other than the time she like literally beat the living shit out of my grandfather, or picked up a butcher knife and tried to stab him. But it wasn't directed at me. That wasn't directed at me, so that was fine. But my grandmother was so pissed, and I still have the pendant. The whole point is I still have the pendant to this day. I still have the pink crystal. And so for me, it's always shocking when I see Christians talking about Satanism and demonic stuff with witches and people that practice witchcraft or even voodoo and stuff like that, when they do the same goddamn things. They do the same things, but when they do it, they're holy and they're good and it's approved of by Sky Daddy that sits on the throne, and approves of this behavior. But when I do it, I'm evil. They get mounted by the Holy Spirit, they speak in tongues, they jump around in circles and roll around on the ground, okay? People in my tradition, we get mounted by our spirits come down and talk to us face to face. You light candles, I light candles. It's ridiculous to me. It's so ridiculous to me. They literally do the same thing. I'm spooky. That's terrible. That's really, really terrible that she converted to that. It's a cult, man. You can't eat Halloween candy. That's awesome, Lauren. Did I tell you my dad believes he's anointed? Did I tell you that? Man, I'm so glad that I'm out of that shit. Oh my God. And you know what's stupid? I'm sorry that I'm chomping on chocolate chips while I'm talking to you guys. But you know what's really stupid? What's really stupid is that I was like sold on it hook, line, and sinker between the ages of like 17 and 20. Actually, specifically, more like 18, 19, 20, 21. Like there was a 5-year period of time that I was really, really, really into it. And it always shocks me that after people get disfellowshipped and kicked out, that they go back. It amazes me that people do that. Hey, Mrs. Drya, Diva, have a great night. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Don't get me started on Christianity. I like cry whenever I think about Christianity. Oh, I have such contempt for Christianity. It's not funny. That's crazy spooky. They wear the special underpants. If you're a Mormon boy or girl, you wear special underwear so demons won't fly up your vagina or up your asshole and turn you gay. Did you know I had a Santero that basically told me demons fly up women's vaginas? That was a Santero. I'm like, where do these people come up with this shit? Miss me with that. I know, exactly, for real. I was like, what? What the hell are you talking about? Ah! Wait, Spooky said, if they do, I wish they'd hit my G spot on the way in. Ah, girl, you just sent me. You're stupid. That was the best comment of the year. Best comment ever. Could you warm me up first? But I mean, yeah. The purity thing, I don't understand the purity thing. I really, really don't. I don't understand all that purity stuff. I mean, it's so contradictory to nature. I have a problem with religions that are anti-material. There are religions that are anti-material that think that the material world or the physical world is bad. I don't believe that. That is not my view. I do not believe in original sin. I do not believe that there is anything inherently evil about being embodied in a physical body. Matter of fact, the concept in reincarnation is that you get a new body, a fresh body every time you incarnate. That's basically like a blank slate. It's like your canvas in order to live your life and move through life. Like having a body is like a good thing. It's a positive thing. It's a the path to spiritual evolution is paved, through your incarnation. So like being embodied is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The Buddhists believe that people at their core are inherently good, and I believe that. Hearing Christians talk about Genesis, Christians that believe that everything in the universe was literally created in 6 24-hour days. What? That's good, Spooks. Is there something wrong being in between or like partial and possessed and medium? Are we bad? What do you mean, Crystal? Grant, exactly. Oh, really? Did she give you some counsel? That's what they called it. The sister offered me some counsel that I need to put my titties away because all the brothers in the congregation can't stop looking at them. What's up with our spirit? I don't know. Obviously, it is your fault that those men can't stop staring at your tits. You're a horrible sister. Well, I mean, they fix that in Islam, right? They basically throw a big blanket over you so nobody can see you. They figure no one's going to look at my bitch if they all look the same walking around under a black sheet. Just throw a big black sheet over them. Nobody will be able to see it. Oh, so you went to Lesbian Catholic Academy? I mean, homosexuality and lesbianism has always ran rampant, I think, through the Catholic Church because of the celibacy thing or the vow of celibacy. I mean, think about it. If you're a gay man and the only way out of being forced into a relationship or getting married to a woman and having sex with a woman is going and being a priest, you'll go be a priest. The Catholic Church has been just a safe haven for people who were gay and lesbian, but then also for, pedophiles and child molesters. I don't know how anybody can forgive that. I don't know how you can forgive that. I'm talking about like the institution. I don't know how you can get over that. Here's the thing. For any motherfucker that wants to get into my live or come onto my live and start expressing their sentimentality towards Christianity, like say, well, I only pay attention to the red letter. Or they say, well, Jesus doesn't have anything to do with that, or they have some kind of like sympathetic feeling towards Christians. I just say, close your eyes and just meditate on a little girl getting raped or a little boy getting ass raped in front of a big crucifix in a Catholic church by an old dirty priest. Meditate on that for a couple of minutes, and I guarantee you, all those nice little lovely feelings you have about Christianity will turn to disgust, and you can get over that shit because Christianity disgusts me. That is how I feel about it. That bad about it. I feel that bad about it. I'm that hurt. I am that butthurt over it. Okay? All of those priests that molest all those little boys, they all get called back to the Vatican, and all those guys live out peaceful lives, having a peaceful death, getting the best medical care. They never account for any of the lives that they destroyed. Evil to the core. Well, for one thing, I don't believe we were meant to be monogamous. I just don't. Men were absolutely not meant to be monogamous. Maybe women are more wired to be monogamous, but I think that more has to do with protecting your wealth and your assets and your commodity and your protection. Because here's the thing that you got to remember, this stuff is so ingrained in us, it comes down to us biologically. Okay, you talk about intergenerational trauma, like the body keeps the score, like your physical body holds on to trauma and memory from previous generations. I think that women being afraid of not having a protector, of not having someone to provide for their children or protect their children. I think that women, like biologically, are designed to be monogamous because of the way women have survived for the past 300,000 years. Also, men are highly expendable. They've always been expendable. And men went to war. Why? Because you could take one, two, or three boys and 50 women and completely repopulate a tribe with just a few boys. With just a few boys, you can, double your population. Okay, so women have always been commodities. Women have always been valuable. And that's how it was. Women were valued because they brought life into the world. And so there you go. You see history getting played out right there, but you also see how people's behavior over hundreds of thousands of years and thousands of years becomes embedded. It's like passed down through your genes. Men are definitely not biologically wired to be monogamous. Men have trained themselves to be monogamous, but by nature, we're not monogamous. And I think that men's sexual orientation is way more fluid than females. I think there are more bisexual men walking around in the world that would ever choose to say so. I think people who are 100% heterosexual and 100% homosexual are like the bookends. I think that we're talking about two extremes, right? But how many people live in extremes? Most people live somewhere in the middle. So I feel like sexual orientation is fluid. And I think that men are way more sexual fluid than women think they are because they'll never tell you. That's just the truth. You'd never know. You just wouldn't know. To keep the woman in line. Man. You know what, though? I love these matriarchal societies, though, where women make up all the rules. That would be very terrifying, though. Nobody's more hated than bisexual men. Gays don't like bisexual men. Straights don't like bisexual men. It's okay to be a bisexual female. Every straight man wants a bisexual female, right? Because he wants to see her fucking another woman. The stupid thing is that straight women will fuck other women and walk away from it completely fine without her identity scarred in any kind of way, knowing that she had this experience because either she chose to and she wanted to, or because her husband wanted her to do it and she did it and rationalized it in some kind of way. But straight women fuck straight women every single day, and they do it in porn for money. So being a bisexual, so here's the thing. If I was on TikTok live right now, I would have been taken down at least 20 times from the stuff that I've said. You guys know that, right? Like if I was on TikTok, I couldn't talk about all the stuff that I talk about that I do on YouTube. I would totally have been taken down at least 20 times for the shit that I've said. Hey, Lisa. I don't know. I don't think sexual orientation was ever a thing, really. It is interesting to see all these young LGBTQ people, though, talking hate about pride and how pride is dead. I was like, wow. There's like a whole movement of LGBTQ people that are talking about pride is dead. We don't want it anymore. Never thought we would get there. I don't care what other people do as long as it doesn't affect me. It doesn't harm somebody else. I'm going to eat all these chocolate chips. I need to stop. It is not okay. Do not need to eat these. My ass is spreading as we're speaking. Oh, forget it. People have absolutely zero respect at all for anyone. For some reason, the younger generations of people today have zero respect for the amount of suffering and pain people in recent times have had to go through in order to get rights. They don't understand. They have been born into a soft culture. They have been born into this culture where they don't understand what it's like to be arrested because you're holding your boyfriend's hand in a bar. Like, they can't conceive of it. They don't understand. They don't understand what people had to go through in order for us to get here. Like, whenever I hear a black person say, all white people are racist, that pisses me off. You know why? Because the Civil War was all about white people, white men impaling themselves up on other white men's swords in order to end slavery. One of the reasons why the Civil War was so important, right, was because it was ending slavery. So we were changing as a nation. It's such a disrespect and a spat in the face to every single white man that went out in the Civil War and shot at other white men in order to free slaves, to change this country. But no, we're not going to acknowledge that. So, I mean, like some of this new shit that's coming out of these young people's mouths is really, really hard to digest. They're really, really big pills to swallow. Um, History deniers, on both sides. It's not about liberals and it's not about conservatives. Literally, everyone has lost their motherfucking mind. Hold on, I'm catching up on your comments. Oh my Grant, you would totally get me shut down if you're on TikTok right now. I know, it's like sex in my mouth. Look, I'm getting rid of it right now. I'm putting the chocolate chips away because I don't need to eat this shit. Put them in the refrigerator so they don't melt. Ouch. No, baby, you can't say those words on TikTok. They would have never even showed up in the feed. TikTok would have censored them out. You can't talk about sex on TikTok in a live. They will literally turn off your live. If you say penis or vagina or orgasm on TikTok, you're going to get taken down. Like, you can't use anatomically correct language on TikTok, but you can use slang. And you can watch TikToks of people like simulating sex, but you can't talk about it. And that's where our culture is so ass backwards that I hate this place. I hate it here. I mean, it's amazing some of the shit that I've seen on TikTok. And then they took down my fucking altar with a wooden phallus on it. And then oh man, it makes me so angry. Please, my blood pressure is going up. I can feel myself stroking out just thinking about how much I hate TikTok. I hate that motherfucking app. Like, I'm literally watching a video of like these people basically fucking each other, and it's got like 100,000 likes on it, and 1 million views. And then I post a picture, a video about my altar that has a wooden cock on it because I'm a witch, and it gets taken down for pornography and sexually explicit material. And when I appeal it and say, my video is a video showing my witch's altar, which that's my spiritual, you're suppressing my spiritual tradition, and there's nothing wrong with the image of that phallus, still would not be put back up. I see sexually explicit when I say sexually explicit, one time I got on there and there was this woman, and she had used some kind of facial, like she was doing some kind of facial cream, and it was white and it looked like cum, and it was dripping all down her face, and it was like hanging off of her chin. And then she made some kind of like snide remark about how she had such a good time last night. You know, she basically used the innuendo that she had multiple men ejaculate all over her face, and that's why there's all this cum all over her face. And then she's like talking about like the face cream or whatever. And then I post a video showing my altar with a wooden cock on it, and it's taken down for pornography. And I read some of the comments in that bitch's video, and it's like all of these lewd comments about men and group sex and bukkake, this and that, and coming all over her face and coming all over her tits. And I'm like, and I can't have a video of my little wooden cock on my altar. When I think about it, it enrages me. It disgusts me, actually, because I don't understand how these people can put the shit that they put on TikTok and get away with it. and get hundreds of thousands of likes on this stuff. And I go live and I say penis or vagina because I'm talking about sex or I'm talking about uh, alchemy or whatever, and my shit gets taken down. No, I see these women wearing these bikinis and these thongs, swimsuits and stuff, where like the bikinis are literally pasties, they're just barely covering their areola. And then they've got these thongs hiked up their vagina, and like their lips are completely hanging out. Like literally, the thong is like hiked up between, their, their camel toe, whatever, and that shit has like 200,000 likes on it, a million likes on it. It makes me so mad. You don't even understand the rage. I mean, obviously, I love it. I think it's hot. I mean, it's not like I don't think all the sexual stuff is really, really funny or hot. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm a prude. God damn it, I'm a sex worker and I've done porn. So I'm not a prude. I'm just saying it makes it just it I wonder why they can get away with it and I can't. And that's the part that makes me angry. I'm like, but do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? The donut video is so funny. But see, the thing is that I also realize that when things get taken down now, it's all AI. Like whenever you get a content violation or something goes down, like I will post a video and it will go down immediately. The reason why it will go down immediately is because AI has determined that I have violated the community standards in some kind of way because I use some kind of language that it recognized as hate speech. So I will have to go appeal that. And sometimes it will kick back as they will not reinstate it within minutes, which means a second AI must have already determined that the first AI was correct. Or maybe it takes 24 hours and suddenly the video reappears. And maybe a real human being actually reviewed the video. But most of the stuff that's being taken down or that's going to be taken down, like even on Facebook and Instagram, is all that's AI picking up on that stuff. Like I posted a picture the other day. I posted that picture. I posted those pictures of like what Facebook tries to sell me. It's hysterical what Facebook is trying to sell me. Facebook is constantly trying to sell me men's underwear and G-strings and jock straps and other sex toys and like rubber suits and rubber sheets and butt plugs and everything else. Like I got all this stuff coming through my feed of what people are trying to sell me on Facebook, and it's all sex stuff. And then I reposted the picture, and Facebook said, the picture that you're posted looks like it violates community guidelines. We have seen other pictures like it on Facebook. Are you sure you want to proceed in posting this picture? And I said, proceed, and I posted it, and they didn't take it down. But see, TikTok is a leftist leaning app. That's the thing. It is definitely, it leans left. And so people who disagree with certain social narratives are going to get viciously attacked on that app. and you can't disagree with people. Like, it is definitely a leftist app, and you'll see people saying some really, really hateful, horrible stuff on that far crazy leftist, you know, whatever communist wing, socialist wing of the liberal spectrum. You guys are still talking about the donut man? Y'all need to get laid, or you need to go pull out your magic bullet, or your bullet, or whatever. See, the thing is I have got a lot of opinions, and they don't fall into any category of conservative, liberal. My opinions are just my opinions, based on my own feelings about it and my own observations. Sometimes people are shocked that my views are considered super or hyper liberal, and then other times they're totally shocked that I'm coming across like a transphobe or homophobe, and I don't even know how that's possible because I suck dick. No, I'm not. I'm not phobic towards anyone. Well, maybe that's not true. I definitely have my prejudices. But I mean, I don't feel like the things that I said about like the whole trans thing. Uh, I feel like none of my views about transgendered issues are any different than Buck Angel, the most famous trans man in the world, who you can go watch here on YouTube, hear his views about transgenderism. Or who's the other one that I love? Um, the trans girl that got canceled off of TikTok, and TikTok wouldn't reinstate her profile. I watch her too. What's her name? Blair White. I love Blair White. She's funny as hell. And I think that both of those two creators, I haven't ever said anything that those creators wouldn't say, and they're trans. So I mean, it's like you don't have to be. Um, People just share their opinions about stuff or not, and say I can say whatever I want on Google. I can say whatever I want on YouTube. I'm here to talk about whatever. Um, Google is not taking me down for having a calm conversation about these issues. I'm very, very judgmental towards myself. I mean, I consider myself genderqueer, and I consider myself queer in general. It's only like within the past month that I allowed myself to identify as bisexual. I just decided to go ahead and I decided that I was going to go ahead and not allow that to bother me anymore. My bisexuality has always been a source of contention and self-hatred my entire life. Um, I always, as a bisexual male, was stuck in that are you gay or are you straight? And you have to be one or the other. And I don't even need to tell you the spectrum of traumas I've been through surrounding sexual orientation and like my relationships. I don't even want to go there. Nobody will ever understand the amount of suffering and pain sexual orientation identity has brought me in life and what it's cost me. But I finally just allowed myself to be like, okay, I'm bisexual. And like, just let it go. Hey, Ashley, I am doing reads. You want me to give you a reading? It's $20 for 20 minutes. And you can Cash App me. I would love to do another reading. Well, the truth of the matter is, Summer, is that there's nothing different about me today than there ever was. Okay, Ashley, I'll start shuffling up your cards. Yay, I get to do another reading. I thought readings were done. I thought readings were closed. I thought nobody wanted to get any more readings from me. Oh my goodness. Oh, Summer, you sent me a donation. Summer, honey, I would read you. You don't have to, you didn't have to. Summer, you are so sweet. Seriously, though, I would totally read you if you wanted to get read. Ashley, I got you. I'm shuffling up your cards right now. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I really appreciate you. And Crystal, I forgot. How could I even forget Crystal? I was going to send you a message on Facebook. Thank you for your tip. Thank you for sending me a donation towards my work. You guys don't understand how much I appreciate you. Like, I open up my app and somebody gave me $5 or they gave me $10 or someone sends me like, $20 for my time. And I really, really, really appreciate that you guys contribute to my work. Even those little contributions here and there, you don't understand. They add up. They pay a bill. You know, you send me $10. You're basically paying for one of my apps that I have to pay for on a monthly basis in order to create content. So every single time you guys put something towards me, it helps pay for something. It pays my bills. I'm eternally grateful to all of you. Well, when you're ready, Summer, and you want to get a read here on live, just remind me that I told you that I would give you a reading. Just be like, Ryan, I want to cash in my reading now. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. I'm so blessed. It's funny because my spirits, they will slam me so hard. I woke up one morning like a couple of days ago, and I was like, I woke up, I made myself some coffee, took my broom, started sweeping the floor because like there was like dust on it or something. And I heard someone say, if you're not happy, that's a choice. And I was like, God damn, why'd you have to come for me this early in the morning? Like, I haven't had coffee yet. I forgot to say my gratitude prayer, Gratitude is very important. Gratitude is the medicine for resentment. Let me say that to you again. My spirits told me that one night. I was high. I was elevated. I was using cannabis. I was on my yoga mat. I was practicing yoga. And literally, I heard a voice say, the medicine for resentment is gratitude. Mine are sassy as hell. Right now, my spirits are putting me through it because they're trying to get me to transition to what I don't understand yet. But they're trying to get me to transition. I know where they're trying to get me. I know what they want me to do. My spirits are trying to get me to be a full-time spiritualist again, a full-time spiritual worker. So that's why I'm trying to go live. That's why I'm going live. That's why I'm doing live readings, because they're trying to get me back on that track of being a spiritual worker. Hey, Lou. Good to see you. I'm trying to create products now. I have products that I need to make. People have made orders for spiritual baths and stuff, and I'm getting ready to make it. I've been waiting for like some special essential oils. I wanted to add camphor as one of the ingredients to my spiritual bath. And I don't mean a lot. I mean like a few drops. Literally like 5 drops in a 16-ounce bottle, just to add that little bit of just to spike it for the spiritual bath. My spiritual bath is the bomb. I also need to get rum. There's a rum I need to buy because it's gonna have a splash of rum in it. But I got to get the Haitian rum. It's a very specific kind of rum. It's the Haitian rum. All right, almost there, Ashley. I got 2 more decks to shuffle. I got my oracle cards, and then I'll read you. Yes. Well, you can buy the little camphor cubes at the Indian grocery store, because if you have if you do the home puja, or you do the fire pit, you throw the camphor in there. It's very, very strong. It's very strong. We'll put a camphor cube in a glass of water on the Boveda for cleansing purposes. You'll always find camphor at the Botanica. That's awesome. It's the Kunda. It's the Kunda. But see, there's a lot of, so I don't think people realize how diverse, I don't think people realize how diverse the ethnicities and cultures that came through the Caribbean. I mean, in Espiritismo, Criollo, and Creolized Spiritism and stuff, I mean, we have representation of all the different spirit groups that moved through the Caribbean. We have the Celtics, we have the Indians, and I mean like the Hindus, the Chinese, or they call them the Orientals. I mean, in spiritualism, in the Caribbean, there's the Arabians, there's the Northern Africans, there's the Congos, there's the Gitanas, the Gypsies. I know that the word gypsy is supposed to be a slur or whatever, but that's what we call them in the tradition. So the Caribbean is very, very culturally diverse and has had many, many ethnicities and many, many different peoples that have passed through, leaving their mark on the spiritualist tradition. That's why I love being a Creole spiritualist. All right, so here we go, Ashley. It is live. I am live. Interesting. I'm closing off my readings. So if there's one more person that wants a reading, I will do them after Ashley, but I am closing readings because I'm not going to be on much longer. Ashley. So many things going on. Okay, Ashley. So one of the big things that came out at the very beginning of this reading is that you've got a lot of fairies around you. You pulled my fairy card. So whenever somebody pulls my fairy card, it means that you probably need to go out to the forest. You probably need to do an offering to the elementals. You need to do an offering to the fairies. Hey, Gabby, I'm doing a reading right now. Guys, if you're just showing up. So fairies like mirrors. They like shiny things, things that sparkle, things that reflect light, like prisms. They like sweets like honey, molasses, uh, agave, okay? They like milk. They like cookies and sweet cakes. So I would recommend crafting a ceremony or a ritual where you go out into the forest and commune with the spirits of the forest and commune with those nature spirits, okay? I got you, Miss Diva. Another thing that's coming through for you is you pulled the Seven of Cups. And whenever somebody pulls a Seven of Cups, that means that there are a lot of options, that you have a lot of options going on right now for you. And when I use a Seven of Cups, that usually has to do with spirituality. It usually means that there are many different paths. There are many different paths for you to explore on the spiritual path. Now, let me be really clear. Your spiritual path is your life. So your spiritual path isn't something separate from your everyday experience, okay? When you wake up in the morning, when you have your cup of coffee, when you say your prayers, when you kiss your kids goodbye, when you go to work, when you interact with people on the street, when you come home, when you eat a slice of pizza and smoke some weed and watch Netflix, that is your life. And your spiritual path and your life are one and the same. Okay, so just remember that. Remember that there is sacred energy running through your life all the time, and it's manifesting in your life all the time. And it's the conscious use of that magical manifested energy in your life that is your spiritual path. Okay, but that also means that, if you're interested in Norse paganism, study that. If you're interested in Santeria, study that. If you're interested in, Druids and Celtic spirituality or Wicca, study that. Like, think about different spiritual paths that you're interested in, you'd like to learn more about. Or if you're doing ancestor work and ancestor veneration, learn more about your ancestors. Learn about the geographical regions which they came from. That's a really good thing about getting an ancestry DNA test, is you can see where your family comes from around the world, and you can learn about those cultures and those people. You pulled some really, really hard-hitting cards over here in my Oracle deck. You pulled the womb. This is the womb card. Are you actively trying to become impregnated? If you're not actively trying to become a mother, okay, that card is deeply, deeply, deeply intimate when it comes to the Creator, to God. See, in my spiritual worldview, the universe was birthed into existence. Everything that you see was birthed into existence. Everything is birthed into existence. If it's living, if it comes to be, it comes through a birthing process, okay? And so for me, the womb is God. It's the divine. It's the first ancestor. Whoever it is that gave birth to all of this has got to be female first, because all babies are also females in the womb until, genes kick in, the genetics kick in, and then you all of a sudden now you've got males, right, coming out, but we're all females first. So it only makes sense that the Creator, or whoever the divinity is that brought everything into life, has to be female. That says that you have a very, very strong connection to the divine. You have a very, very strong connection to the divine. And you should really explore that. You should really think about what spiritual path you're walking down in order to reflect that connection that you have to your higher consciousness. You pulled the higher consciousness card also. This is a really, really great reading. You've got a lot of really great cards coming through. Talks about higher consciousness, that it's time for you to lift and raise your consciousness up. It's time for you to put out offerings. It's a time to put out offerings. So, I mean, you seem like you're very, very deeply connected to nature. And I would explore these nature-based paths that have a very strong connection to the divine feminine. That's just my opinion. That is what I get out of looking at this divination. You pull the Three of Pentacles. Whenever somebody pulls the Three of Pentacles, it talks about that there's something that you need to learn. There's something that you need to study. right now. It's very important to you that you educate yourself, that you continue expanding your knowledge. You pull the Eight of Swords. That's one of the cards that's not so great. The Eight of Swords talks about someone who's blindfolded and bound, someone who's surrounded by swords or almost boxed in and caged in. It's a feeling of like being trapped, or a feeling of not being able to move, or a feeling of being stuck. Do you feel that way? Are you feeling trapped in some kind of way? Are you feeling limited? Spirit is giving you advice in this reading about trying to release you from or give you more wiggle room, okay, in order to expand your consciousness. Oh, well, you know what? Then it's time to tell the bitch to get off. Sorry, you're moving, you're growing, you're expanding, you're moving in another direction, and that person is not. Guess what? That's like being in a marriage. You might meet somebody when you're 20 and they're 21 and you marry them, but when you're 40 and they're 41, you might be on totally different pages, okay? Because whenever you get up with somebody and you guys get up and you create a partnership, whether it's business, whether it's friendship, or whether or not it's a marriage or a lover, you start traveling down this path. You're on a road with one another. And we all come to intersections, okay? We all come to different intersections. We all come to intersections in life where we make conscious decisions whether to evolve or to stay where we're at. And it's not right or wrong. It is what it is. And if you're moving and you're growing spiritually and that person is holding you back, then you need to separate from them. That's it. It's not complicated. You pulled the suspended person. The suspended person card is the hanged man card. It's the hanged man card. And that card, for me, says, stop being a martyr. Like, what the fuck do you think you're going to get out of, sacrificing yourself on behalf of people that don't appreciate you or don't care about you or are not willing to meet you halfway or reciprocate the level of energy, love, and support that you're putting into? See, that's the whole thing. The whole thing is that you've got a martyr complex. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to save the relationship or save the business or save. Has nothing to do with loving somebody or not. You can love a man that beats you. It doesn't mean that you need to stay in that relationship. You can love being in a particular kind. You could love being a special education instructor, but get to a point where you cannot deal with the school system anymore, or you hate the superintendent, or you're physically incapable of picking up handicapped children and taking them to the bathroom. I mean, you can love someone, you can love your job, you can love a lot of things. You can even love drugs, but know that you can't take them because you overdose on them. You know what I'm saying? So love has nothing to do with it. Like Tina said, what's love got to do with it? Love doesn't have anything to do with it. It just means that the partnership is no longer uh, beneficial for you. Hold on, let me keep looking. You have a priest that walks with you. You have some kind of priest that's in your spiritual court that's coming around for you. And I don't mean like a Catholic priest, I mean some other kind of priest. This particular priest that's coming through for you, for me, seems uh, Well, in my tradition, we would say he's an Arabian, or he seems like very Persian to me, or someone who's Middle Eastern. You have a priest from the Middle East that is around you. You also are pulling really, really strong Hecate vibes tonight, too. Well, that's good. That's good. Try to maintain the friendship even if you don't do the spiritual stuff. Spirit is talking about relationships, and Spirit is talking about being in a relationship with a lover or a partner. That's good. How's your relationship going, Ashley? Are you in a relationship? You're in a relationship. Spirit says that it's trying to bring you material wealth and prosperity. That's good. See, I only have one card that deals with romance. The Two of Cups is the only card in any tarot deck that I ever attribute to personal relationships because I don't do relationship readings. But if that comes up, the indication is that whoever it is that you're with, that you guys are on a good path with one another. You pulled the Ace of Pentacles. And so what Spirit is trying to tell you in the Ace of Pentacles is that, there's material wealth coming your way, that, stability, money, those kinds of things will be taken care of. It also talks about you being a very stable person and being very grounded. Spirit is talking about that there's two cards that are coming through very strong for you. Well, let me give you, so there's, you got one more card here that's not necessarily positive, and let me go ahead and talk about that first. So you pulled the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords talks about not allowing other people to rope you in to their drama. The Five of Swords talks about conflict between more than two people. So it's always like three people or four people or more. So the concept is like if your mom and your sister start fighting with one another, don't allow your mom and your sister to drag you into the middle of their problems. If you're in a friend group, don't allow, like if there's problems going on in your friend group, don't allow those people's problems to become your problems. Stay out of conflict. That's my card for staying away from conflict, avoiding conflict. So at any step of the roads, don't allow other people to drag you into the middle of their drama. It never works out for anyone that gets dragged into other people's drama. Look, Ashley, that is not right. Okay, so look, that you're going way up and beyond what you should be doing as a spiritual worker. You're a spiritual worker, right? You do spiritual work. You help other people spiritually, right? You have to have really, really, really hard boundaries between you and clients and between you and people when it comes to their spiritual lives. Every single person's spiritual experience is completely unique and individual to each person. We have completely subjective experiences surrounding spirituality. Working with our ancestors is a personal thing. Working with your guides is a personal thing. Initiations you go through are for you. They're a personal thing. These are things that we do for ourselves. People whose spirituality vomits up all over everyone around them, those people are not mature adults. They still have to, they have to grow up as people first and be adults first, and then they can start dealing with their spirituality. You need to have serious boundaries, like brick walls. Being a sex worker in my life for 16 years gave me hard ass boundaries between me and other people. And you just have to you need to be more verbal with people, letting them know what your boundaries are, because maybe they don't know. And here's the thing, if you set a boundary with a motherfucker and they cross that boundary with you, that means they don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you. All they care about is themselves. So if you set a boundary with someone and be like, look, when you come to me for a spiritual consultation, we can talk about your spiritual path. But when I am not giving you a consultation, I'm not giving you free advice. Don't talk to me about your spiritual path. Talk to me about, cookies or something. Talk to me about other things. But if that person keeps crossing boundaries with you in some kind of way, it means they're just an asshole and you have to cut them off. How about this, baby? You don't have to be like me. You don't have to tell people what stop to get off, okay? You can just cut them off. You can just block them. You can just not respond to their text messages. Don't have to answer their phone. You don't have to answer your phone. I mean, if I don't want to talk to somebody, I fucking don't talk to somebody. I have no notifications that go off on my phone. The only notifications I get on my phone are text messages on my phone, not WhatsApp, not Facebook, not TikTok, not Instagram, not Zoom or any of the other communication apps I use. I will not know whether or not you reached me out to me on Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp until I open the app and see that you tried to contact me. But if I'm not looking to see if someone has contacted me over spiritual related issues, I will not see it until I feel it's time for me to see it. Do you feel me? Get a Google number. Google gives you, get a Google number. It's called, and you can download the app to your phone, even for iPhone. It's Google numbers. You get a whole ass phone number. Download the Google app, the Google, what is it called? Google phone or something like that. And get a Google phone number and let that be your, you can do a voice message on it and everything. That is our time. I do want to go ahead and extend this reading, though, just for a second, to let you know that you have family spirits that are around you. You have a grandfather spirit, you have two grandfather spirits that are around you, and a grandmotherly spirit. Actually, you have three grandfatherly spirits and a grandmotherly spirit that's around you. The grandmotherly spirit I see has got like red curly hair. She's got a face like what's that woman's name? The actress? Oh my God. What's her name? I'm not going to remember this woman's name. She's a Broadway star. I'll remember eventually. You have a spirit around you that's got red hair. Her skin is very, very pale, porcelain skin, and she looks like this actress that was very, very popular in the 70s and the 80s, Bernadette Peters. You have a spirit guide around you that looks like Bernadette Peters. Spooky, you are a medium because you totally read my mind. You typed that just as I said it. Bernadette Peters. Yeah. Anyway, that's the message that I have coming through for you. But you got to create stronger boundaries between you and people when it comes to spirituality, okay? Because look, people even people who are, even good people that don't mean to be bothersome can just suck your energy dry. Oh, really? Oh, that's so sweet, Ashley. That's really, really great. Well, guess what? She's still with you. Um, Even people who are your friends that you love and you care about can just be too much for you sometimes. And you need to you need to create for yourself um, healthy boundaries through communication, like deciding how easily accessible you are to communicate with. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, I'll send you a DM on TikTok," I'll be like, "No, don't DM me because I'll never read it because I don't read private messages on this motherfucking app. Send me an email, send me a text message, and we can talk. But don't try to contact me through social media. It's not going to happen." You know what I mean? Just create new boundaries around how easy it is for people to contact you. As an example, anybody that you don't want to contact you anymore, unless it's monitored, give them your Google number. Say, do not contact me on my personal line anymore. If you want to contact me, you can send me a message on Google. Please don't contact me on my phone because I'm going to be doing this more professionally, or I'm creating a boundary between me and my clients, a healthy boundary. And let me tell you something about creating boundaries with other people, okay? Whenever you decide that it's time to enforce a boundary with another person, or let's say you've been really, really lax and you need to create a new boundary with somebody, and you set a boundary with that person and you say, "Look, this is my boundary for behavior with you," and they get offended in some kind of way, like they take it personal that you say, "I don't want you texting me at 11 o'clock at night. I don't want you thinking that you can call me to talk about your life at any time of day." If somebody gets offended because of that, they are someone that you don't need in your life, period, at all. You don't need that level of frustration in your life. It just means that you exist for one reason. You're just a, oh my God. I almost said cunt rag. You're a cunt rag. Those people use you for one reason and one reason only. That's the word that came up in my head in like neon lights. Somebody put it there. Yeah, they're just using you for your talents. And I'm very, very glad that none of the people that are around me, my friends that are close to me, or people I've met on social media that I interact with often, don't come around trying to get me to do mediumship for them. Bye, Grant, baby. I'm very, very lucky that the people that are around me in life aren't actively like chasing after me, trying to get me to do work for them. But see, that would never happen anyway because my boundaries are so fucking hardcore. Last night when I was in the room with Lauren and Crystal and Jackie, we were chit chatting or whatever, and somebody said something about like maybe it wasn't with you guys. Somebody said something about like boundaries, like being worried. Oh. Somebody said something about I'm afraid if I text you or something like that, that I'm going to be overstepping my boundaries in some kind of way, or like I'm going to be bothering you. Someone said that. They said that, "Oh, I'm afraid if I text you when I need you, I'm going to be bothering you. What? It's you, Lauren? Okay. And I was like, you don't realize how hardcore my boundaries are. My boundaries are pretty hardcore. If I don't want to talk to you, I won't talk to you. Or if I see your message and I don't have the emotional capacity at that moment to talk to you, I'll be like, I can't talk to you right now, but I want to talk to you. I have to talk to you later. You see what I'm saying? Like I have, you know what the problem is, Ashley? I'll tell you what it is. It's difficult for you to say no. And that's because you're an empath. People who are empaths are prone to codependency, and that is a fact, 100% fact. That people who are born with psychic abilities such as clear empathy and people who are empaths are 100% people pleasers, and they are fucking codependent. They don't have the ability to say no. And if you were raised in a household like mine, where your parents did not teach you how to have or enforce healthy boundaries between you and other people, you will be a motherfucking doormat. I had to. So the thing is I grew up without boundaries. There were very poor boundaries in my family. Okay. Like we did not have healthy boundaries with one another in my family. Okay. That's an understatement. So then when I go out into the real world, I don't have any boundaries with my family. I create relationships with people who are boundaryless. You know, I'm around a lot of people with really, really loose boundaries when it comes to interacting with other people. It was just part of the culture I was raised in. Dancers, musical theater people, very, very poor boundaries, very artistic people, very poor boundaries. When I became a sex worker, I had to create boundaries between me and my clients. It's for protection. Just remember that you have to protect your energy. You have to protect your energy. It's right. People in musical theater, people who are actors and actresses and singers and dancers and highly artistic people and artists, no boundaries. Like we're just spread wide open. Just bend over and spread yourself wide open because we just don't have boundaries, healthy or proper boundaries. And we become very emotionally attached very, very quickly to people that are fleeting, and then they take off, or like you get separated from them and you never see them again. And it's like you create all of these really strong emotional attachments with people that are emotionally unavailable and then are never there, and that you lose. Setting bound I respect people that set boundaries. Like whenever somebody sets a boundary with me or says, I'm setting a boundary, stop, Ryan, I'm setting a boundary, I'm always impressed. And I always commend that person for setting a boundary with me. Because if you can look at me in the eye and say, Ryan, no, um, I'm going to set a boundary with that, I applaud that. I love it when I see somebody standing up for themselves and saying, no, I'm not going to tolerate this behavior because it crosses a line with me and I have a boundary. I love boundaries. Boundaries are sexy. I gotta take off my headset because it's dying now. Boundaries are sexy. BDSM and sane, safe consensuality between adults and being able to manage those kinds of things. God damn, I've been through all of that. That's right. Bring sexy back. Yeah, exactly. I think the first thing you need to get over is being worried that someone's not going to like you if you set a boundary. There's a lot of people who are empaths and codependent and all of that that are afraid that in some kind of way that they're going to offend somebody or they're going to hurt somebody's feelings by setting a boundary. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. We're going to talk about BDSM now? Please. Don't get me excited. Because I am fucking Christian Grey, by the way. I'm the real Christian Grey. Come over here and visit my red room of pain. I'm a hateful motherfucker. Let me tell you, you think I'm mean on TikTok? You think I'm bossy on TikTok? You haven't seen me at my best. I'm sadistic though. I am a I am a sadist. I mean, there's a part of me that is a sadist. I do enjoy that. I like being mean. I like being bossy. I like degrading another human being. I like talking nasty, and I like putting them in pain. But I mean, there are people that like being put in pain, and there are people that like being humiliated, and there are people that like having those kinds of feelings. I'm just accommodating. I just accommodate those wishes. Yeah, I am. Not gonna lie. I find the whole phenomenon of BDSM and all of that stuff to be so fascinating. Let me tell you about the time they mummified me. So I am definitely not a bottom. I am definitely a top. I'm definitely dominant. I do not like feeling not non-dominant. I don't like not feeling like I'm in control over the situation. And I went to this men's camp. And it was for erotic. It was called Men's Eros Spirit. And it was just a camp for eroticism, sensuality, tantra, yoga, BDSM, and everything else. And it was held out in the mountains. It was like 50 men out in the mountains playing cowboys and Indians, and doing workshops in BDSM, spanking workshops, and everything else. And of course, I master men and women. I dominate both. But one of the guys that was teaching mummification, he taught a mummification workshop. He asked me if I would be his model. And I was like, yo, I do not like restraints. I do not do restraints. And I don't use restraints because when I tell you to assume a particular position and stay there, I expect you to stay there regardless of what I do to you. If I have to restrain you for you to stay still, then we're not playing the game. Because my game is you take it, okay? And if you move when I tell you not to move, then the game is over and you can put on your motherfucking clothes and you can leave. Like that's the kind of master I am, okay? So I said, I don't, the restraint thing, I don't get it. I don't use it when I'm on top. I don't want it when I'm, being more passive. But he was like, I promise you nothing will happen to you. And I'm like, I know nothing will really happen to me. Yes, I'm teasing. Yes, I'm totally teasing you. I know nothing's going to happen to me. I just, I don't particularly like the feeling. But I went to the workshop and he used me as an example. And basically, he put a pillow between my legs and put my feet together and my legs together and used medical tape. And they basically bound me with medical tape all the way up from the legs all the way up to the shoulders. They left the cock and balls out, of course. So there was like the genitals were exposed, but everything else was wrapped up like tight. And he said, do you want to be blindfolded, or do you want earphones on, or do you want your ears covered so you can have like the whole sensory deprivation thing? And I was like, you can cover my eyes, but I still want to be able to hear everybody. So they covered my eyes, and they laid me back and they laid me down on the ground. And then somebody came over, like, then everybody started doing it to each other, and I was just kind of like hanging out there on the ground while everybody else was playing around with getting it done. I felt super relaxed. I felt super supported because like my whole body was just kind of like all bunched up. And I was warm and hot and sweaty, but at the same time I was like really, really warm. And then like somebody came over and was like, I'm not going to touch you if you don't want me to, but can I play with your cock? And I was like, yeah, you can play with my cock. So like I got a hand job. So I like had like a whole ass hand job, mummified, and it was fine. I would never do that again. The most interesting feeling that happened at the end of that particular experience was he used medical scissors, in order to cut me out of it. And he said, I want you to just relax. And I just completely relaxed. Jan, you're funny. I just totally relaxed. And he cut me out of as he was cutting me out of the medical tape, everything, I felt like my body just went, bleh, like it just like a busted can of biscuits. It's like my biscuits just fell out everywhere. I know, right? You took a class in electric wands? Wow. Not a huge fan of needles, but I do acupuncture on people's ears. It's interesting what people like and what they don't like and what they find. So the thing is like I'm a very physical person. So I like physicality. I like being physical with other people. Um, doesn't necessarily mean I want to fuck them, but I enjoy being physical with other people. So maybe that's the reason why I'm good at being a sex worker, because I like interacting with other people in a physical way. You actually can't feel the acupuncture. Maybe it would feel like a little pressure on the skin, but acupuncture should not be painful. They don't put the needle in very deep at all. Yeah, they're very, very, very tiny. I hear you, Jan. The first time I sold my body, I was 13, turning 14. First time I, the first time I turned my first trick, I was 13 years old. I was put in a very compromising situation by my mother with this guy, and it's very complicated. And I'm not going to go down. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with that. But I was put in a situation where I basically turned my first trick, you know, for money, basically, and it was. I still wrestle with my feelings surrounding that situation. Don't be, you don't have to be sorry, please. When I tell these stories, either about my journey and my alcoholism or the sex stuff that's happened to me or like the abuse I've experienced, don't feel upset. Don't get upset. I'm not upset. So I don't want you to be upset. Like, yes, I've been sexually assaulted. I've dealt with abuse in my childhood. All kinds of all kinds of bad things have happened to me, but I'm not upset over it. So if I'm not upset, you don't have to be upset. Okay? Not unless you get really super triggered by hearing survivors talk about these kinds of things. One of the reasons I think why BDSM is attractive to people who have been sexually assaulted or people who have been abused is it's because it's a way to be able to take back your power, take back that power for yourself. It's about being, and maybe even that's why I became a sex worker, so that I could define on my own terms how I wanted to be treated sexually. Because obviously I love sex. And I like being sexual with other people, and I like being sexual with a lot of other people. You know what I'm saying? But I think boundaries are incredibly empowering, and when I realized that I could have boundaries and I could say no, and I didn't have to feel forced into doing things that I didn't want to sexually, it was very empowering for me. So the thing is about my OnlyFans is I'm gonna have to end my OnlyFans. I'm not keeping it. I'm gonna put some more posts up on my OnlyFans, but I'm gonna make an announcement, I think tonight, that is gonna tell everybody I don't have the time to be able to maintain an OnlyFans. It's too much work and I don't have the time. And if you're gonna do OnlyFans and you're gonna make money off of it, then you need to like be doing that full time. Like that should be your job, is OnlyFans. It's not my job. And so it's difficult for me to find the time to like make posts, and I don't want to feel that kind of pressure. Yeah, you don't need to see my OnlyFans. You can see my OnlyFans if you want to. Or you could just join my Discord group, my erotic Discord group, and you can see all of my, you can see everything on there also. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I got a message from someone the other day on my OnlyFans, and they were talking about how they missed my old self. They were talking about how, you know, they love the adult content I put out now, but they really love the stuff I did when I was younger. And they're like, you just seem like more mellow now. You don't look as excited as you used to. And it kind of like really destroyed my ego. I had like a mild ego death from that message. I screenshot it and I texted back and I was like, you know, I'm just old now. I'm 43 years old. I'm in my 40s. I don't have that same youthful vigor that I had when I was young. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it was like, I had to sit with it for a second. Because what that person had done basically was told me that they wished that I was still performing sexually like I did when I was in my late 20s. And I was just like, I'm 43. I don't fuck like I did when I was 18. I don't fuck like I did when I was 25 or even 35. I'm 43 now. Like I am on a decline now. In order for me to be sexual, I have to rest more. I have to get sleep. I have to eat well. I have to exercise. I have to be in a particular kind of mood, okay? Like, I am a different person now at the age of 43 than I was when I was younger. But that person's lament about how I've matured was a real ego death for me. I was like, man, I didn't think I looked bad for 43. I mean, and it still gets hard, right? And I'm still having great orgasms, but it's not performative. It's not as performative as it was when I was younger, or not as exhibitionistic. I think what they said was it seemed like I was more internal or internalized or I think I have a FetLife profile, but I've never found any success meeting anybody on FetLife. Well, that's not true. One time I met this couple that was like, so here's a thing about some bisexual men that I don't like. So there are some bisexual men that are in relationships with women that know they're bisexual and they're just fine and they call themselves swingers, but they're looking for other men to fuck around with, but they're looking for him. Like he's looking for guys to fuck around with and she's okay with it. And that's not what I'm looking for. If you tell me that you're a swinging couple, I want to fuck your wife. Like I want to come over and I want to have like a threesome. You know what I'm saying? I want to I want to have like a partner fuck with your wife. Like it's not going to be like your wife sitting there while you're sucking my dick and jerking yourself off. Like I didn't come over to be the bi guy for your fucking bi husband. Does that make sense? So that irritates me, that annoys me when that happens. FetLife isn't what it used to be. To be honest with you, I literally think it's Brujo Ryan. I think I created a Brujo Ryan FetLife account. Jan, you're so naughty. I like it. I love the kink. We love kink around here. I get an idea. I totally get the idea. A soft dom. What does like a soft dom mean? He's not a mean dom. To me, like a soft dom is a guy that comes home expecting his woman to be sitting there wearing a collar on in submission. I'm gonna buy you a cute little doggy collar and you better make sure that you have that on when I get home, bitch, or you're not getting fucked. That kind of dom. If you want this cock, you better be wearing your collar when I get home. That's my idea of a soft dom. That's your ex. Yeah, no. That's not my style. I knew I had really gotten myself way past what any normal state of anything when I had three naked ass women laying on my bed in a line on their back, holding their legs up in the air with their feet up in the air for me to whip their feet. That's when I realized that I was not, there was no way that I could go backwards on my journey. So I was just taking turns whipping one woman's foot after another. You know, getting whooped on the foot, that hurts. It stings. Because I tried to do it to myself later. Like, they were all trying to be like slut puppies. So, like, they took turns, like, one after the other, going over my knee. But then I got really mad. Then I got really, really, really angry. And I'm like, get on the fucking bed, you fucking whores. Lay on your back. Like, grab a hold of those fucking legs. Get your legs up in the air. Let me see those feet. And then I like ran to the kitchen and I like opened the drawer. I'm like trying to find something to beat them with. And I found like a spatula or something. I found like a wooden spatula. No, I found a plastic spatula. Spatulas are great. I love those things. So then I went back out with the little plastic spatula and I fucking whipped their feet. I don't know why women do like pain though. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of women out there that like pain, and I don't know what it is about you guys that like the pain. Sex is so great. Yeah, the being afraid of hurting someone thing. I think the thing about me is I really can tell whether or not the person is at their threshold for what they can tolerate or when they're done. Like, you have to know that you have to, if you're a good Dom or you're a good master or daddy or whatever it is that you're doing, you will know whether or not you have reached that person's threshold of pain or what. Well, the pain actually facilitates the releasing of certain hormones in the body. And so after a certain amount of time, you go into a trance-like state. You talk about going into trance. You can also go into a trance mediumship state through sensory deprivation or even through pain. One time, interesting thing enough about me is I do enjoy getting flogged. So remember that erotic uh, remember that erotic camp I told you I went to? One of the final nights that we were there, they did something called the erotic carnival. So what happened was they turned the grand hall of this resort into a BDSM dungeon. And so when I showed up, there was like all kinds of fuck shit going on, and the room was just full of men, you know? Some men in leather, some men in rubber, most of the men just naked, and then other men wearing their jock straps and whatever party gear that they wanted to wear. There was like a station where a guy was where the fisting station over there, where the guys were getting their, you know, butts stretched out, and then there was like a glory hole side of the room, and then there was like the electrocution side of the room where people were getting electrocuted, and it was just this whole thing. And I got flogged up against a St. Andrew's cross with my friend, and then I had got on a flogging station, and one of my mentors, one of the tantric gurus that was there who used BDSM as part of spiritual awakening, said to me, asked me if he could flog me. And I said, yeah, sure. why not? I'll try it. I trust you. And so I got on my hands and my knees on the flogging station, and he came over and he pulled my head back like that, and he kissed me on the cheek, and he said, I want you to know what I'm about to do to you is because I love you, not because I hate you. And then he proceeded to whoop me. Then the next thing I knew, there was a whip cracking down across my shoulders. Wha-cha! And so he went on this whole whipping thing, and he flogged me really, really, really well. And I got so into it, like, I was like, my body started moving on its own, like just reacting kind of like a jellyfish or some other kind of animal would react, that didn't have consciousness, was just kind of like an organism that existed in space. Whatcha? And I felt like I was in trance. I went into like this trance state. And then after it was over, I opened my eyes and there was like 25 men just standing around jacking off, watching me get whipped. And I was like, wow, I had no idea these people were here, standing around. So then I like put on my sweatpants, whatever. I put on my shirt and I'm like, I gotta get out of here because I'm done. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So then like I went outside and I looked up into the sky, and I looked into the sky, and all of the stars, it looked like all the stars were out, all of them. And every single star was glowing, and it was like green. It was like a green glow. Every single star was glowing a bright green light. And they felt so close to me. I felt like I could reach up, and I literally reached up in the air as if I could grab a hold of a star and pull it to myself. That's how close the stars looked to me and how bright they were. And then when I showed up at the cabin where my friend that went with me was at, I walked in and he goes, oh my God. He said, you're glowing. And I said, really? He said, yeah, there's like a green glow all around your body. So like, I went into a massive trance in the middle of the woods and I had attracted all kinds of green energy, I guess, nature spirits. I was literally out of my mind. Channeling Pan, you are absolutely right. The horn god is very, very dear to my heart. I am all about the horned one. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. Pretty amazing experiences. I've had experiences that no one would ever believe. And I don't regret any of them. Oh, I have seen the horned one. And when I saw the horned one, when I really, really came into the full presence of the horned one, what I realized was how can I put this? The horned one is, for one thing, the horned one is male, okay? This new woke shit about the horned god being in some kind of way female in any kind of way is a fucking lie, okay? The horned god is a male deity, not a trans deity, not a female deity. It is a god and it is a male, okay? And he's got a big fucking dick between his legs. He is all about sex, and he's all about violence, and he's all about votility, and he is the raw creative force of nature. That's who the horned god is. Raw, pure nature. Raw, pure testosterone. Okay? Anybody who doesn't know that or hasn't come into contact with the horned one does not know who the horned one is. The horned one harkens back to a time where rationality and logic and morals and ethics had not developed yet. The horned one operates on pure passion and biological need, like an animal, like a wild animal. Do you understand? The horned god is an animalistic god that goes into frenzy, is drunk on the blood of his enemies, and sits in a state of orgasmic trance in the middle of orgies with sex fluids flying everywhere. Okay, the horned god is all about what is primal, okay, and intoxicating, which is the complete opposite of the Christian idea of God, of being pure, sinless, stainless, self-sacrificing, loving, kind, forgiving, and all of these other concepts. Those are just concepts that are based in the mind and not based on primal passion and primal needs. And so that's why that horned god, that Pan, that Dionysus, even that Legba, okay, that entity, that deity, divinity, whatever you want to call it, was presented as Satan. That nature spirit, that spirit of nature, was turned into the representation of evil. And why was it evil? It was evil because of its passion. It was evil because of its raw honesty. It was evil because of its nudity. It was evil because of its unashamed behavior when it came to sex and release. So those people who are extremely sexually repressed and depressed and oppressed obviously created this kind of like dichotomy. You know, they created this break in consciousness between the primal animal self and, I guess you could say, the rational, logical, spiritual self. But I don't even think that the spirit, I don't know why people want to act like the flesh is bad and the spirit in some kind of way is superior. Because from my experience, just because you're spirit doesn't mean you're pure in any kind of way at all. Jan said, I'm depressed, I have no dick, LOL. I am so sorry about that. I mean, so the truth of the matter is that, you know, when it comes to that particular entity, that particular divinity, that divinity is all about, like, just raw passion. It's just all passion. And primal instinct, which is considered to be bad. Because whenever somebody behaves based on their primal instinct, we attribute that as to them being bad. Yo, my friends, it is 11:44 p.m. and just turned 11:45 p.m. That means it is time for me to get off YouTube and go post more stupid memes on Facebook or see what's going on other social media platforms, and then have a bowl of cereal and go to sleep. So I got nothing but love for you guys, and I appreciate you hanging out with me and getting a reading and everything. And I'm gonna get you hot and bothered, and then I'm gonna leave. Yes. I got nothing but love for you guys. I'll see you again next time, all right? Peace out.